This episode of Self-Interrupted is kindly sponsored by Eugenia Milian, the author of Wild Childs. As you guys may know, if you've listened to Self-Interrupted before, Eugenia has sponsored this podcast multiple times with her book Wild Childs. Eugenia means so much to me. She has been a constant supporter of myself, and as a transgender artist, it means a lot to me because getting the support from someone that you look up to means so much. And I look up to Eugenia so much. She's not only a writer, she is an agent, she's a producer, she's a model. She's worked in the industry that I work in, and it means so much to have someone like her support me. So it means so much that I get to share her book Wild Childs on my podcast. If you don't know, if you haven't heard before, Wild Childs is a fiction book based on the truth of the modeling industry. It follows an ex-supermodel named Iris who now has a daughter called Lou, and for some reasons Iris needs to dive back into the world of modeling, which she doesn't really like, but she has to do it all to protect her daughter Lou. Now this book is a page turner. Kitnators, I'm serious. I was reading this book in Paris, which is funny because some of the book is set in Paris, and I was just in a cafe in Paris with one of my friends, and I was just getting through this book. Genuinely love it so much. It's one of those books that you know is going to be turned into a film one day. So I would recommend to purchase the book now before it gets turned into a film, so you can say, oh, listen, I read that book before it was turned into a film. But yes, thank you so much to Eugenia Milian, the author of Wild Childs, for sponsoring this week's episode of Self-Interrupted. You can purchase Wild Childs in the show notes below of this episode. Oh God. Oh God. Oh God. If you guys could hear the inside of my head right now, that's literally all it's giving. It's giving like, oh God, oh my God. Oh God. Like I literally look in the mirror sometimes in the morning and I'm like, oh God. Here we go. Oh God. Me trying not to cry. Oh God. I'm kidding. Guys, I'm fine. Right. Oh God. You just gotta make yourself laugh, guys. I've been maladaptive daydreaming to a bad... Ooh, it's been bad. She's been trying to escape her life. Yes. Yes. Oh, God. Oh, God. It kind of gives SpongeBob. Oh, God. Patrick. Oh, God. Guys, welcome back to Self-Interrupted, the most uplifting podcast you will ever come across. I'm Kit Costello. I'm the host of this podcast, Self-Interrupted with, guess who, Kit Costello. Yes, I'm the host. And I'm always going to be the host. Gag. This is the penultimate episode of the season, though, so not for much longer this season. Penultimate meaning second to last episode. Love that word. Hi, penultimate. This is my son, penultimate. I just hate myself. Like, sometimes I'm just like, no, it's silly. It gets a little bit silly. First name, Pen. Second name, Ultimate. Costello. Penultimate Costello. This is my daughter Penny, and this is my son Ultimate. Drag name, Penny Ultimate. That's everything. Okay, guys. Today is a chatty episode, could you tell? Right. I'm going to be like basing the episode on my death row media. What's a death row media? I hear you cry. Well, you have a death row meal, which is the last meal that you would have before you get executed. Oh, lighthearted topic, gas. But death row media, it's going to give my favorite TV shows, my favorite films, my favorite music, and my favorite songs. Oh, sorry, my favorite albums and my favorite songs, like the ones that I need to listen to before I go. But yeah, that's what we're going to be doing today. But I want this episode, because it's the penultimate episode, I just want it to be a bit of a giggle, a little bit of a catch up, one for the girls. We do have a catch up of the week that we're going to get into. So if you don't mind, I'd love to get into the catch up of the week. I don't know if you guys had any other plans, but that's something that I would really love to do right now. So I guess let's get into it. And yeah, I am here with my hair done. Yes. So my Dyson Airwrap, famously, we love our Dyson Airwrap here in the KCCU, and I do recommend them. Buy them secondhand, guys. I know it sounds kind of cuckoo to lemon, a little bit silly, a little bit disgusting, a little bit gross, but there's something about saving that sexy, sweet £200. Yes. Love my Dyson Airwrap, but it does look like I'm getting ready for a red carpet every time I do my hair. So I'm trying to learn how to give very like, oh, simple girl next door give, rather than, oh, she's about to step onto a red carpet. Not that I'm red carpet ready at all. It's just the hair, it's giving like wavy to the side, like, ooh, you know, she could go on a red carpet if she wanted to, but she doesn't want to right now. She's feeling a little bit too, ooh, oh God. Yeah, right. Guys, today we had the most like transgender week ever. I got laser and I saw Ethel Cain. I just don't think it gets any more transgender than that. Also, someone who was trans at the show recognized me because I'm trans on TikTok. Like, it's just, oh, my web connects them all. So let's get into laser. I went to get laser. Love laser. Hearts up for laser, guys. I got full body and face back to back in the same session. Who knows, a 3-hour laser hair removal consultation. The whole time I was listening to The Art of Loving by Olivia Dean, her new album. Hearts up for Olivia Dean. Girl, that album, it's gas. I love it so much. Me getting parts of myself lasered and it just being like, the silence is so loud. Like, yeah, Olivia Dean, you're so right. The silence is so loud. Laser was good. My laser technician is still talking about her gluten-free bakes. We love her. No, we do. Because she's always going to bring up the fact that she is gluten-free baking. She was kind of soft launching the idea of me purchasing a bake. If you don't know, if you weren't here, last time I talked about her, I was hoping that she was going to give me a bake as a little, you know, gift. But now she's soft launching the idea of me buying one. I said, wait a minute. I'm paying like thousands of pounds for laser. What happened to a little gesture? What happened to a little girl? 3 months till Christmas. Where's a little Christmas gift? I'm hoping for a gluten-free bake. Yes, the hell I am. Thank you. And you can't be, oh, like I've perfected this bake. Oh, it looks so gorgeous. Oh, it tastes so yummy. And then you're all like, oh yeah, but what if you just bought it? Oh. And nothing in the world is free. And I know that. Of course I know that. But sometimes there are things in the world that should be free. And I think a free little present, first of all, should be free. Love a present. I don't know if I'm that great at giving gifts. If I had tons of money, I think I would be. Like, the way I would spoil my friends if I had money, I just feel as though whenever it comes to like people's birthdays or Christmas, I'm just like broke. No, and it's not me trying to make an excuse because I want nothing more than to buy you presents. But tell me why I go to check that bank balance and it's someone's birthday and I say, oh, let me just double check before I buy them flowers and chocolate. A simple give, maybe 20 quid. I look at my bank and it said, oh, baby, you can't be doing that this month. So then they just get like a hand-drawn card. And listen, it's the thought that counts. I'm not being cheap. I don't even have the money to like honestly buy the essentials. So sometimes you just gotta listen guys, being transgender is expensive. Saying that back to laser. So got laser that same day. I was going to see Ethel Cain, so I went back home and I got ready, got into my Ethel Cain give, which was just a simple like tight red top, low rise blue wash jeans. Then it was going to give my mum's bomber jacket from the 80s and then a ballet flat. What can a girl do? Right. Now, Kit and A, this is a story time that I need you to be locked in for. This is the most kismet, cosmic story time that you are going to hear. And it actually gags me every time I think about it. So my train from the farm that I live on to the destination that I was going to, which was Finsbury Park, to then go on the Piccadilly line. I was on the train. And by about the 4th stop, I was in an empty carriage and this boy comes in. And this boy, for visual reference, looked like the singer Somba. He looked exactly like the singer Somba, okay? So this boy sits in the aisle next to me and sits next to me. And we look at each other because we're both the same age. I'm a little bit attracted to him, I'll be honest. He was wearing a trench coat. He was wearing a jumper, jeans, and some shoes. And I said, that's my man. He looked at me and I could tell that there was something there. Because he kept looking back at me. He was looking at me in the reflection of the window. When we go under a tunnel when it was black, he'd then look at me in the window just to catch a glimpse, and I do the same. There was something there, right? We get to Finsbury Park. We've now been on the train for about 16 stops together, not talking. We get off at the same stop, and we both walk down to the underground at Finsbury Park station. And I'm thinking, this is interesting. Now listen. I purposefully walk in front of him because I say, I'm sick of it. I am not like pandering to men. I'm not going to like yearn for men. I'm not going to wait for them to tap me on the shoulder and be like, hey, what's your gift? No, I'm just going to run down the stairs. And if something happens, something happens. Girl, something happened. So I'm walking down these stairs. I run past him. I tap my card in. I'm all the way down, okay? Now I want you to picture it. In front of me, there are two maps, one that represents the Piccadilly line and one that represents the Victoria line. The Piccadilly line is on my left, the Victoria line is on my right. I am going on the Piccadilly line. Behind me, I hear like crashing footsteps coming down the staircase. I look behind me and it's the guy. It's now just us two at this tube station deciding which way we're going to go. So I go Piccadilly line, he goes Victoria line. I'm thinking, okay, that's weird. I thought I wasn't going to see him again, saw him again. I'm never going to see him again because I'm now getting on the tube. So the train goes from Finsbury Park to King's Cross, which is about 4 stops. We pull up at King's Cross and there's a free seat next to me. And as we pull up into King's Cross station, I notice that someone comes onto the train and sits down next to me. It's the same boy. Mind you, the Victoria line and the Piccadilly line have some similar stations in common, and one of them being King's Cross. So this boy got off at King's Cross, came into my train carriage and sat down next to me. Are we gagging yet? Because to me, this is cuckoo tous les monts at this point. This is crazy that we've not only gotten off at the same stop, we got on different tubes, but have now ended up on the same tube. And we're sitting next to each other for a good 20 minutes. And there's a boy sitting opposite me and he's looking at the boy sitting next to me. And then he looks at me and I'm like, what is he looking at? And I'm pretty sure now looking back that the boy sitting next to me was trying to get my attention, but I had my earphones in. Gag. Because I then looked at the boy sitting next to me and he almost made it obvious that he wasn't looking at me, but he was looking past me. But I think he was doing that to kind of be like, oh, it's kind of awkward that you didn't look at me. So now I'm just going to act like I wasn't looking at you to begin with. But then the boy opposite me was making it pretty bait to me that the guy sitting next to me was trying to get my attention. He didn't get it. And now he's kind of laughing at the guy. And I was just like, oh my God, this is silly. So then the guy that is sitting next to me that has been with me on this journey then gets up and leaves. And I'm thinking, that was so cuckoo. To the point where I almost wanted to talk to the guy opposite me and be like, you don't even understand what's just happened. This is kind of crazy. Anyway, I go to see Ethel Cain. We'll get onto that in a second. So I go to see Ethel Cain. It's now, I want to say, the show ended at 11. I get the train from Hammersmith all the way to Finsbury Park, which on the Piccadilly line is 40 minutes. Okay. And now I'm at Finsbury Park now. It's about 12 a.m. and I'm above ground. I'm going to get the train back to the village. I'm on the platform and I'm thinking, wouldn't it just be so crazy if this guy turned up? And there was something in me where I was like, I just know that he will. There's something in me that's telling me that he's going to be here. And then I'm waiting at this platform for about 10 minutes and the train's about to come in a couple minutes and I'm thinking, okay, he's not going to come. As the train is pulling up, I see this boy from behind and I see he has a trench coat on. He has jeans and he has the shoes on. And I'm thinking, that's him. And he leans up against a pillar in the platform. And I look at him and I'm like, that is actually him. That's crazy. The train doors open and he's hesitant to get on. And I walk past him and make it a little bit obvious that I'm me. And he's kind of hesitant to get on because I noticed that everyone else is walking in front of him and he's kind of holding back. So then I walk on. And then as I walk on, he walks on after me. And it's, guys, I'm not even kidding at this point. I'm that's a spy. That's someone that's this is spooky at this point. And he calls onto the carriage. He's like, does this train go to so-and-so place? And everyone says yes. So he stays on the train. He walks past and he sits on one of the chairs. At this point, I'm shaking because I'm this feels like something's meant to happen right now. And I feel like I'm meant to do something and I feel like I should say something to him. But I let him sit down in front of me and then I kind of walk past and I make sure that he sees that I'm there. And then we just I just walk past him and I just sit there. Eventually it comes to his stop, which is about 10 stops after we leave Finsbury Park. And as he gets up, I make it obvious that I'm looking at him as he's waiting at the doors and he's looking at me and we're both kind of just and then he gets off the train and he walks past the window and he's just looking at me through the window, kind of smiling, and I smile at him. And I was just what was that? Isn't that insane? There's something about that feels a little bit too crazy. There's something fate coded about that. And it's not even that there's no way to explain it. Even the fact that I'd never stay in London that late. 12 a.m, me getting the train home, that's cuckoo to me. But I was on the platform with this boy. Do I regret not saying hi? Honestly, no. Like, I'll be honest. Like, sorry, not to kill the vibe, but like, I don't regret not saying hi because I'm very like, I'm not in that vibe right now. But also, it would have just been a giggle. It would have been a giggle to kind of be like, this is so silly. Like, this is kind of funny, no? But isn't that insane? I just needed to tell you guys that story before I got into my Ethel Cain give. But like, I genuinely was like, oh my God, what if this is him? There was something about that where I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. On the catch for the week, I literally just have crazy story of boy on train. Anyway, went to see Ethel Cain with my friend Hanifa. I booked these tickets ages ago and we were sitting in the concert hall and Hanifa and I were like, how the hell has time gone this quickly? We couldn't believe how Ethel released this album in August. It doesn't feel like it's been like August, September, October. Oh, I guess it's only been 2 months. Wait, right. 3 months. Let's see for 3 months. 3 months have gone pretty quickly. This year has gone very quick. Also, the seasons have changed in the UK so quickly. It turned September and I said, let me slap you around the face with autumn real quick because I'm looking outside, the leaves are on the ground. It's like, you know, cloudy. Like, oh my God. But Ethel that was special. That was, we were sitting in the back because I just kind of got tickets as quick as I could and I got kind of almost the worst tickets that you could get. Honestly, there were no bad tickets at Ethel Cain. I quite like being at the back of a concert hall, to be honest. I love observing people. But I was at the back. It was just so good. She's so amazing live. There were so many moments where I was just like closing my eyes. And we were sitting down, girl. Get into the give of sitting down at a concert. What do you know about that? What do you know about sitting down at a concert? Because sometimes you're given a seat and you're not allowed to just sit down. I love sitting down. What do you know about sitting down? I beg to sit down. At a concert hall, I'm the one that's sitting down. I love to sit. If I'm given a seat, I'm going to sit. I was looking at the people that were standing and I said, baby, that's not my give anymore. It was all cute when I was like 17 years old going to see Conan Gray. But now, as a 23-year-old watching Ethel Cain, give me the seat. Give me the back seat. I'll just appreciate everyone else. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. There was a specific mashup that she did that Hanifa and I levitated to, and it was Punish and Onanist from her album Perverts, I believe. The light direction, her vocals. I literally, guys, I'm not kidding. I don't know if there are any tickets where you live. Get tickets just for that experience. It was spiritual. I was standing there. No, I was sitting there. Let's get that propaganda crushed straight away. I was sitting there and all the lights started flashing. Her vocals were going insane. And it was so loud and it was so overstimulating, almost to the point of calmness. It quieted everything in my head where it was almost funny that I couldn't think about anything but what was happening in front of me, and I loved it so much. And it almost got to a point where I was like, I have to close my eyes because I feel like this isn't good for me. Like, I thought something bad was going to happen. I was like, this is too many flashing lights. But it was just so incredible. And she's such an artist. She ended on, well, the actual set list, she ended on House in Nebraska, like a few lines from House in Nebraska. And I was just like, what a beautiful way to end that specific storyline of that show. If you know the law, you know the law. It was just so beautiful. And then she sung Crush, she sung American Teenager, and we all got up at the end. And there was this girl sitting next to us just by herself. And there was a couple of times where like a couple of chords would play of the instrumental and she would just scream, like scream, like she screamed bloody murder. Like you know when it's like the only person in a concert hall that screams because they know the reference before anyone else does. She screamed and everyone turned around. Bless her heart, Hanifa was sitting next to her. Hanifa just jumped out of her. So she said, Jesus Christ. But at the end of the show, I literally I touched her and I said, girl, you're everything. And she said, my earring? And I said, no, baby, you're everything. And she said, thank you. I'm authentic. And I said, oh, that's great. But I thought she said, thank you, I'm autistic. And obviously, I just said, that's great. I love that for you, girl. But she said, no, baby, I'm authentic. Well, she didn't correct me. I thought the whole time that she said, thanks, I'm autistic. And I went, that's great. I love that. And then I said to Hanifa, I was like, oh, I'm so happy for her that she's so proud of her autism. And then Hanifa said she's not autistic. She said that she's authentic. And I was like, oh, okay, great. Right. But also, can we talk about concert etiquette real quick? Because why were the two girls in front of us on Snapchat? You're watching Ethel Cain. get off of Snapchat right now. You're over the age of 16. Delete the app. It has to be a legal requirement at this point. I'm sorry, guys. If you have Snapchat and you're over the age of 16, I'm going to have to judge you just a little bit. You taste that? That's me judging you just a little. I don't fuck with Snapchat like that. I never have. I heard recently that Snapchat are now paying for people to save their memories. On Snapchat, you can save, I guess you still can save memories, but now you have to pay for storage. Baby, let them go. Me as a boy at 15 pining over a man, I'll deal without it. Like, please. I just think that's like torture a little bit. Like, how dare you? That should be illegal. It's not though. Also, that's the girl, physical media, get into it. If there are any photos of your friends that you like on social media, download them, print them off. Those photos do not belong to you unless they are in your hands. I'm serious. If there's any TV shows that you love that's on streaming, get the DVD box set. It doesn't belong to you. It can be taken off of DVD. It can be taken off of streaming today, tomorrow. Physical media is so important, and this is just a reminder of that. Like Snapchat making you pay monthly so that you can store photos and videos on the app that was designed to do that is so, I just think, so unethical, especially because they know their audience is young and young people are like really about preserving the memories. It's like, and it's all they've known to not have the physical media. Get physical media or put that onto another hard drive. Don't pay for Snapchat. Snapchat, ooh, the bad times I had on Snapchat when I was at school in sixth form, the trenches, like the amount of group chats I was kicked out of, not let into, just a mess. I went onto my Snapchat like a year ago. First of all, boy Bitmoji, terrifying. The Bitmojis are the little, like, almost like the me's you make of yourself on a Wii. You make a Bitmoji of yourself on Snapchat. It was a boy. I said, oh, can we not talk about that? Also, I had no friends on Snapchat because after I left school, I literally deleted and muted everyone. I said, none of you are going to know my movements after school. And then I became a transgender model. And I was like, oh, okay, great. So you can easily look me up. Great, love that. Anyway, hey Snapchat, what's your give? But yeah, Ethel Cain was amazing. Oh, been writing songs is up next on my catch up of the week. I have been writing songs quite a lot recently. I'm really loving writing at the moment. I'm really proud of the songs that I'm writing. I don't know when I'm going to put music out. It's like one of my like goals is to have an EP at some point. I was actually thinking while I'm on my break, which is going to be a bit of like a longer break in between seasons this time, I was thinking of doing like a close friends on Instagram where I kind of like share like what I'm doing. But like I could also share some of my like music on there because that would feel less intimidating than putting it, on streaming platforms. But yeah, I've been writing. I am looking to invest into Logic Pro, which is like a producing tool because I do want to make my own demos. And also like a MIDI keyboard, which is like a little baby keyboard, like a piano that I can like put onto my laptop to produce with. Okay, up next. Started watching Great British Bake Off. That's my way of touching grass. No, and it is, because me and Great British Bake Off, like, that's me familiar. I haven't tapped into her for a second, but it's just like riding a bike. Like, you just never forget family like that. Me and Great British Bake Off, I'm back on her give. It's a gorgeous slow pace of life. I'm having a Horlicks and almonds at the moment at nighttime, which is really lovely. A Horlicks is like a malt drink. I don't know how to explain that to people that don't know what malt is. I wouldn't know what malt is, so please don't feel stupid. But loving Great British Bake Off. At the moment, I'm just needing to like just have slowness in my life. I think recently my life really feels like it's been going quite fast paced and I've been focusing on so many other people and other sectors of my life that aren't me and aren't just for me. Like I've been focusing on like romance and stuff like that, mainly just romance, and I just don't need to focus on that anymore. We'll get onto that in the final episode of this season, which is next week. But yeah, it's been a nice like homecoming to myself recently, and I've just kind of needed to Right. Next. Autumn is here. We all cheered. And we did. No, because we actually did. We love autumn here in the KCCU. I'm looking out. It's cloudy. There are leaves on the ground. And we all celebrate. I love autumn. I love London in autumn. I love like getting cozy and just like cuddling up with myself at the moment. But yeah, love autumn. She's special to me. But that's the catch up of the week. I hope that you enjoyed my little chatty catch up. I now want to get into my death row media because it's exciting for me to share all of my favorite things with you. So let's get into it. Thank you once again to Eugenia Milian, the author of Wild Childs, for sponsoring this week's episode of Self Interrupted with Kit Costello. Wild Childs is an amazing book for someone that wants to get into the fashion industry, for someone that wants to model, for someone that wants to become a designer, for someone that wants to become a photographer. This book is the first piece of media that I have embraced that genuinely represents the life of a model in an accurate and well depicted way, because Eugenia was a model herself and is a model herself. She understands what the life of a model is actually like, the gritty days and nights working on a shoot, the times that a photographer will ask you to do the same pose over and over and over again until it's perfected, the frustration in that when you think that you're hitting the right pose, but the photographer says that you're not. There is so much in this book that I myself as a model have learnt, but there's also so much in this book where I've been able to take a sigh of relief and think, oh my gosh, other models feel the same way. This isn't a completely unique experience to me. This is something that someone else has felt, and not only felt, but they felt the need to write about it in a book. So this book is for the people that want to get into the fashion industry and for the people that are in the fashion industry. And I really highly recommend Wild Childs by Eugenia Milian, available in the show notes below of this episode. Thank you once again to Eugenia Milian for sponsoring this week's episode of Self Interrupted with her book Wild Childs. Okay. Guys, who's ready for some recommendations? Hands up. Right. The end of that catch up of the week got a little bit sad, didn't it? No, because I did. I really said, there's no romance anymore. Then depression hit me like a wave. And sometimes I just have to talk about it a little bit with you guys. But we will be talking about that a little bit more in depth next week in the finale of this season, because I think that topic that I'm going to talk about in that episode next week really is going to be a lovely bow on the end of this season. So I'm really excited to talk about that. But let's get into the recommendations, because I don't want to leave you guys months with no season of Self Interrupted, with nothing. I need you guys to tap into this media so that when I come back we can have a catch up, we can talk about it, and I want you to all watch this media. Okay, so I have my favorite films, TV shows, music, and albums. Right. My favorite films. Love Rosie. Hands up who knows Love Rosie. Okay, so Love Rosie is a film. The reason I love this film is because it is over time. They start as teenagers, they end as adults. That is special to me. Like, there's something about a film where the love interests the film starts with them being kids. Hold on. Kids, next door neighbors to teenagers. They fall in love. And then it's an on and off romance throughout their adulthood. But the girl, Rosie, has a child. Oh my gosh. Teen pregnancy. So they have to there's a whole thing. This film is so good because it really is one for the yearners. It's one for the girls that are like, maybe he's the one, you know? Sometimes that's okay. Sometimes that's not okay. I'm talking about the narrative in your head. Sometimes that narrative in your head is a little bit silly because sometimes that person isn't the one. I have written a Substack on this called He's Not Your Connell, He's a Twat, in reference to Connell from Normal People being romanticized to the nth degree, and I think it's disgusting personally. But sometimes there is a bit of gorgeousness in romanticizing that person that maybe you grew up with, maybe like you had a little kiss once, and maybe you're thinking like, that's the person for me. Love Rosie is that. It's just I think Love Rosie is genuinely the perfect rom-com because it has all the elements that I love. Also, I do have a little crush on the main actor. I think he's a little bit sexy. I do. Of course I do. It's also funny, great cast, well written. It's a giggle. It takes you everywhere as well. Oh, I just love it. Hi, Love Rosie. Love you. Up next, speaking of a classic, Notting Hill. Okay, so this one's a little bit personal for me right now. I love you, Notting Hill. Hi, Notting Hill. I first watched this film when I was like 16. Picture it. It's a Sunday, okay? I've just finished watching a Conan Gray YouTube video. That's how long ago it was. Conan Gray was still uploading to YouTube on a weekly basis. He was not a pop star yet. I've just finished watching an Ash and Cone's cooking show. If you know, you know. I was on my phone. I went onto Netflix and I said, oh, Notting Hill has just been added to Netflix. I've been wanting to watch this film. Let me watch the first 5 minutes and see if I'm interested. Cut to 2 hours later, I've watched the whole film on my phone, on my bed, with my jaw on the floor. How have I not watched this film before? I said to myself. It has all the elements that I love. A rom-com, first of all. Julia Roberts, second of all. Hugh Grant, third of all. London, fourth of all. Behind the scenes of a superstar, fifth of all. Did I mention it has Julia Roberts in it? Right. That film, there's just something about it that's just like, oh, okay, whimsy. I do love a rom-com. I really do. In moments where you feel like romance is dead, in moments where you feel like romance is slipping through your fingers, it's hard to, but sometimes watching a rom-com at those points, it's like, oh, okay, there's a chance, there's possibility. I was thinking to myself the other day, guys, do not hate me for this though. In all the rom-coms that I've watched and the end slate happens, I'm just thinking a month later, are they thinking this is cuckoo? What am I doing in this relationship? And do they leave? Do you know what I'm saying? Because think about it. Think about the amount of maybe dates that you've been on, people that you have dated, where if at a certain point in that relationship an end slate happened, let's say a perfect date happens, end slate, everyone in the audience would be like, damn, they're going to live happily ever after. Next thing you know, a couple days later, they're like, oh, by the way, oh, this isn't going to work for me. Who knows? Hugh Grant could have said that to Julia Roberts a couple months down the line, saying that, oh, don't want to spoil it, but there's reasons at the end that they probably shouldn't have done that. They're going to be tied together for life. But I love Notting Hill. Me, Notting Hill, that's me familia. Okay, up next, Black Swan. Black Swan is one of my films that is part of my DNA. Me and Keira Knightley, oh no, that's not Keira Knightley. Baby, that's not Keira Knightley. It's not Keira Knightley. It's not Keira Knightley. Siri, who played the main character in Black Swan? Natalie Portman. That's going to go and be Natalie Portman, actually. So, Natalie Portman, I see you. Your acting in that was so, I get you. Genuinely, I remember watching Black Swan for the first time, and I cried quite a lot. Black Swan is a film about a ballerina who is 22 years old, and she has just been cast as the Black Swan, and she is so hard on herself. She has all of these unrealistic levels of expectations for herself, and it eats her alive. The whole film and the premise of the film is, will you survive your own expectations? And in this film, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but it gets deep, it gets dark. I did recommend it to one of my friends, Moya, and she got back to me and she was like, this is a crazy film. I can't believe you recommended it to me. So I do want to say that it can get a little bit cat's eye gnarly at I'm sorry. It can get a little bit gnarly at points. It does get a little bit like self-harm vibes. So if that triggers you, do not watch the film. But I think in today's day and age, specifically, if you're a model, if you're a creative in any way, there is such a pursuit of perfection, especially with, trying to build a career off of social media. You never feel like you're doing the right thing. You almost feel gaslit into believing that you're doing something wrong all the time, when all of my friends that are artists that are posting on social media, they should be the most famous people in the world. These people are so talented, but sometimes, like mine, their videos don't do well. And you're just like, what is happening? As creatives, I just feel like we're in this constant cycle of feeling the need to impress ourselves, to impress others, and to reach a level of perfectionism just to be seen. Just to be seen, not even to be celebrated, just to be seen. And I think that's what this film really depicts well, is that desperation of validation. And there was a moment that I really needed it, and that's when I stumbled across this film. And it was one of those moments. There are certain films that have done this to me, have really just grabbed me. I remember watching Call Me By Your Name for the first time, and I just remember being like, oh, I'll just throw this film and see what it's like. My life changed. My life went in a different trajectory. And it's the same with Notting Hill, and the same with the Black Swan. It genuinely changes your life, when you find cinema that you resonate with, it's so special. And that's why I want to do this video, because I think that we have similar tastes. So speaking of taste, what do you guys know about Wild Child? Yeah, a little bit of a light-hearted give. Emma Roberts, a bratty LA teenager, is in trouble with her father, so she gets sent to a all-girls private boarding school in the UK. Guys, get into this rom-com. Get into my voice freaked me out. My voice just cracked and it freaked me out. Did you guys hear that? Ugh, I hated that. Sorry, as I was saying, get into this rom-com. It's really good. It's a film about self-discovery and a film about like letting down your walls to love yourself and therefore to be loved by others. And it's also just a giggle. Like there's so many moments of like iconic lines from Emma Roberts, and Emma Roberts plays a bitch so well. It's just so good. I really love this film. So hearts up for Wild Child and hearts up for Emma Roberts. Up next, onto TV shows. Sex and the City, what would I do without you? And I actually am serious, because when I was in my little dating give a couple of months ago, and I was dating this guy, and then he was a complete and utter twat to me. If I didn't have Sex and the City, ooh, guys, it would have been bad on here. Like, you guys would not have heard the last of it. And I'm sure there's some of you that are like, damn, I would have loved those episodes. But also, it's for the best that I had my girls. I had Carrie, I had Charlotte, I had Samantha, and I had Miranda. Like, those girls got me through that breakup, and I'm actually really serious. The thing that I love about Sex and the City is the women on women love, and not in that way. In the platonic sense, I love it. I think it's genuinely inspired and inspiring. I just feel a sense of empowerment from Sex and the City. It follows 4 women living in New York City. Carrie, the main character, is a columnist for The Star newspaper, and she writes a column called Sex and the City, where guys, it's literally me. Okay. She talks about her life in this column, specifically her sex life. I don't talk about my sex life on this podcast, but I talk about my life, which is why I do call myself, and I coined myself, of course I do, the transgender Carrie Bradshaw, because that's Carrie, Sex and the City, and I feel like that's very my give. But yeah, I love Sex and the City, and I genuinely think that if you haven't watched it, I'm not going to pressure you into watching it, because I do think it's one of those things that you have to tap into when it's right. But when you get the sense that it's time to watch it, don't let that pass you by. Tap in. Up next, TV shows, Gilmore Girls. I don't have to say too much. I'm sure everyone here has watched Gilmore Girls. Gilmore Girls and me started watching Gilmore Girls when I was in sixth form. I was 16 years old. I was watching so much good media at 16, clearly. And my little village at my sixth form was so Stars Hollow. Stars Hollow is where Gilmore Girls is based. And I left school at the same time I was leaving school. I was watching the episode where Rory graduates Chiltern, which is her private school. But the concept of Gilmore Girls is a single mother, Lorelai Gilmore, and her daughter, Rory Gilmore, live in this small town called Stars Hollow. And Rory has been accepted into a really prestige school, which is private, called Chiltern. And it's a lot of money per term. The money that single mother Lorelai Gilmore does not have. However, single mother Lorelai Gilmore ran away from her rich family, her rich parents, I should say, Richard and Emily Gilmore. So Lorelai says to herself, well, listen, I don't have the money, but I know that my parents do, and my parents would do anything for my daughter, their granddaughter, so I'm going to go to my parents. She goes to her parents and says, listen, can you pay for Rory's tuition? And they said, yeah, of course we can, on one condition. Every Friday night, you come here for Friday night dinner so that we can stay in touch, because I haven't heard from you in months, almost years. So the show is based around the Friday night dinners of the Gilmore Girls, them going to their family house, and, you know, the dynamic between the generations of Gilmore Girls. And it's a coming of age story. You have romances between the mother and between the daughter, and it's just amazing. Genuinely recommend Gilmore Girls if you're, at any age, really. I think it's gorgeous that it's a show that you can grow up with. Okay, up next on TV shows is a TV show called One Day. One Day is a TV show, but it also is a film. And I watched One Day, the film, because it was out before the TV show. And let's just say there's a little bit of a twist at the end of One Day. And when I was watching the film One Day, I was genuinely traumatized by the ending. One Day is based on these two people that went to university together. I don't even know how to describe it. It's like they meet on one day, and then for the story is like every year the film and the TV show show them on that day that year. That makes sense. It's basically their coming of age in their relationship and how every year that they meet, their life is different. And I think it's really interesting because it's like, you know, you want them to get together, you don't want them to get together, you know, throughout their lives, they become different people, and you just watch them grow up and grow into different people. And there's desperation, there's pining, there's yearning, there's wanting, there's loving. And eventually they kind of get what they want, and then it's taken away from them right at the end. And I say this, you know, the film and the TV show is the same kind of premise, but I do think that the TV show actually I prefer over the film, because I think it just kind of gives more life to the characters in a way. And there's just so much beauty in that TV show because it does feel like a very normal couple, and a couple that really love each other, but it just never works out for them. And it's so hard sometimes to watch that kind of media. It's kind of like the Love Rosie film that I was talking about. It's that kind of thinking about someone in your life that represents that for you, that kind of person that you think, oh, it could happen with them. And whenever you walk away from watching something like that, it does kind of make you overthink quite a lot of things in your life. But I do think that there's beauty in that. I think there's so much beauty in like the unknowing of love, whether that's platonic or romantic. You never know who's going to come back into your life, and I think that that's something to be celebrated. And with One Day, I think it's definitely the dramatic version of that, but I think it's something I walk away from, specifically platonic more than anything. I just think about the people that I haven't spoken to in a while, and I think, you know, one day I'll bump into them and we can catch up on everything. And then, you know, in a few years' time after that, we'll bump into each other and we'll catch up on everything. I think it's just a reminder that like people aren't gone from your life forever. They're always there. They're living their life. It's whether you want to reach out to them and speak to them. That's kind of up to you. But I think it's interesting. And One Day, I think, depicts that kind of emotion and that longing really well. Okay, up next, my final TV show that I recommend, more of a silly one, Pretty Little Liars. If you guys haven't tapped into Pretty Little Liars, tap in right now. It's about a group of friends that are blackmailed by an anonymous person called A to do tasks to like expose people in their town. It's one of those shows like The Vampire Diaries, like Gossip Girl, that's just like 7 seasons long. There's 10 minutes in each episode that actually means something. 30 minutes of it is just nuisance, like an absolute mess, but you can just have it on. And over the autumn, it's a great thing to be watching. So Pretty Little Liars is really good, funny. Oh my gosh, if you guys watch Mike's Mike, he did a recap of PLL, Pretty Little Liars, and it's literally like 6 hours long, but I've watched it maybe 3 times over. It's so funny. So once you finish watching Pretty Little Liars, you get to watch Mike's recap of it, and that is special. Okay, up next, we're on to music. Music, I just have songs, and then I have albums. So my songs are End of the World by C Rose, Stoned at the Nail Salon by Lorde, Making the Bed by Olivia Rodrigo, and California by Chapel Roan. A lot of these songs are very sad. I love sad music. I love to feel. There's nothing I love more than being on a train, going on a walk, having my headphones on, and just listening to the music. At the moment, I'm kind of in the like, oh, I can't listen to sad music right now because I will just cry. So saying that, I am going to see C Rose in concert by myself. So, I actually am a little bit scared, but I think we'll be fine. I think we'll be fine, guys. But those are my songs. For my albums, Preacher's Daughter by Ethel Cain, Good Riddance by Gracie Abrams. I feel like I'm calling out like Grammy nominations. Good Riddance by Gracie Abrams, Vertigo by Griff, Found Heaven by Conan Gray, The Art of Loving by Olivia Dean, and My 21st Century Blues by Ray. All of these albums have in common songwriting and just like a yearning, a misunderstanding of love, and a want for love. Good Riddance by Gracie Abrams is really an album that I resonate with a lot. When it first came out, I remember I was in Paris. I was with my friend Moya, and I specifically remember her asking like, do you like the album? And I remember being like, no, I don't really get it. But as I've gotten older, I've understood the album more and more, and I really resonate with that album now. It feels like it's like part of me. I don't know how to describe it. Like the words have been sung to me so many times that it's just entwined into me. And then Preacher's Daughter, just as like an artistic landscape, is so beautiful. I love Ethel Cain and Hayden Anadonia. I think that she has such a beautiful sense of her artistry, and she has such a tight grip on it, and she understands it so well. And I just think that, you know, she's amazing. Vertigo by Griff. The song Everlasting by Griff on the album Vertigo is genuinely so beautiful. It's about feeling as though you can't have a healthy relationship because you haven't seen a healthy relationship in your life. You haven't grown up with that. And I think that that is just a very interesting niche topic. But I love all of these albums so much. Found Heaven by Conan Gray, I think, is a great 80s replica album, and the songwriting on it's great. Art of Loving by Olivia Dean is a pretty new one, but I think it's a great one to really understand yourself in the experience of love. And My 21st Century Blues by Ray is an amazing, like, self-worth, I deserve this record. But that's my Death Row Media. That's what I would recommend to all of you guys before this season ends. I want you to know my favorite things, my favorite media, so that when the season ends, you can go and listen to them. But I hope you've enjoyed these recommendations. Let's get on to, I don't think I'm going to give a recommendation of the week. I think I'm just going to say my outro and leave. Is that okay? Maybe I'll give a recommendation of the week. Okay, sorry. Let me not tease you like that. Let's get on to the recommendation of the week. The recommendation of the week this week is... Oh God, what's the recommendation of the week? The recommendation of the week this week is The Great British Bake Off, or The Great British Baking Show for my Americans. I recommend this show. It's comfort, it's gorgeous, it's an hour long. You get to just like slip into this beautiful, easy, light-hearted watch of The Great British Bake Off every week. It's special. So that's my recommendation of the week. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Self Interrupted. If you have enjoyed this episode, please make sure to rate the podcast on Make sure to rate the podcast on Spotify, leave a written review on Apple Podcast. You can follow me personally on Instagram and on TikTok at Kit.Costello. You can follow the podcast on Instagram and on TikTok at Self Interrupted Pod. You can also follow the Substack at Self Interrupted with Kit Costello. But other than that, I'm sending you so much love. As always, Kit.